Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and I am going to talk to you about Guardians of the Whills, a new young adult novel that is meant to give us a little bit of a prelude to what Baze and Chirrut were up to in Nijeda, or Jeddah City, just before Rogue One came about. And if you like character development, this is definitely going to be the book for you. We're going to go ahead and do a quick tour of the book itself, because the one downside, you guys know that I like to start these videos out on the downside, so then we can end on high notes. It's not on Audible. I had to physically read this. Poor me, right? So we'll go ahead and take a look at a quick physical tour of the book. It's not a very large book. It's probably about 240 pages, and those 240 pages really go by pretty quick. I was able to burn through this book in about 2.5 hours, 3 hours, I think. And I'm a moderate to fast reader, so it's basically a long movie type of time dedication for this guy. The artwork is amazing in this novel. There's not very many of them. I think there's only like 3. In addition to the cool artwork, you also get these excerpts from Collected Poems, Prayers, and Meditations on the Force, edited by Kazim Pell, Disciple of the Will. And this was probably my favorite part of the book. Don't get me wrong, I love character development and all that kind of stuff. But probably what I like the most about it is that it gives us this more of a mystical feeling on the Force. It tells us and shows us in story terms that there are hundreds or thousands of different faiths that are interested in the Force. I mean, you get some of that stuff in the Rogue One visual dictionary, but to see this in a story was awesome. But anyways, onwards to the characters. Baze and Chirrut in this are spot on. I was really worried that they were going to concentrate too much on Chirrut because he's the Force-sensitive one and all that kind of stuff. And they don't do that. These chapters shift perspectives. First chapter is Chirrut, second chapter is Baze, third chapter is Chirrut, fourth chapter is Baze, and so on and so forth. And it really does a good job of balancing your perspective in between the two characters, and you really start to understand their motivations, which is something that was really lacking in Rogue One, at least for me. You didn't really connect with the characters, and both Guardians of the Whills and Rebel Rising, which I'm starting tonight at work, is almost necessary reading for me in order to understand these characters. And it makes me really excited that they are filling in these little holes that they weren't able to tell in a 2.5 hour movie. Another wonderful thing about this book is if you're a big fan of Baze and Chirrut's banter back and forth, an old married couple kind of thing, there is tons of that in this book. There is some character development, but it's actually closer to the beginning of the book when the author is kind of introducing you to the characters or reintroducing you into the characters, and you start to learn Baze's motivations for doing what he does and Chirrut's motivations for doing what he does. And they're both completely separate, but they both end up in the same place. And that's what makes the relationship in between Baze and Chirrut work so well. There's not that much extra canon stuff that happens in this novel. Most of it, like I was saying earlier, does come from the Rogue One visual dictionary, but I like seeing things canonized in stories instead of source books. Source books are nifty little trivia trinkets. Novels and stories, comics, films they feel much more real. It's not just, oh, okay, so that random background character was a member of the Disciple of the Whills. No, that background character that you saw in that little trivia book is actually a fairly large character in the Guardians of the Whills. And it definitely helped me to identify with characters a lot more and to identify with the world. And it makes me want so much more from Jeddah. We don't have a canon map of Nijeda or Jeddah City, and I want one right now. We got like kind of a non-canon or canon light or canon adjacent map of Jeddah in the Galactic Maps, source book, which is an awesome source book, but it's not canon, and it's not very detailed or anything like that. And I want that. I want to know about like the Dome of Deliverance and the first and second spires and where they came from and all that kind of stuff. I would love to see that, please. And by the way, if anybody at Lucasfilm ever sees this video, please can I have just an entire booklet that is collected poems, prayers, and meditations on the Force, please? You guys made that propaganda book, which was really awesome. So, could I have that, please? Maybe? Okay, not a charming face. But anyways, basically, the only real downside that I had to this book is that it wasn't really long enough, which is a bullcrap complaint in the first place, and it's not on Audible. So you have to actually buy the physical copy, which I buy all the physical copies anyways because I'm insane. But for those of us that just don't have the time to dedicate 2.5 hours to sitting down and concentrating on reading a book, that could be a downside. All in all, this book is definitely worth the $8 that it is on Amazon. Let me see. Does it actually have the recommended price on here? Okay, if you buy it in a store, it's $12.99. $13 for 2.5 hours of entertainment, plus a tons of new character development and stuff to help you identify with characters in Rogue One more. I think that's worth it. But I think that about does it for me on Guardians of the Whills. But I would love to know your guys' opinions. Have you read it? Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Let me know down in the comments. Hit like on this video if you enjoyed this. Hit subscribe if you want more content from me. Make sure to follow me on social media, which is Twitter and Twitch, where we do live streams every Sunday. And as always, with a slight variation, may the force of others be with you.